Welcome to Money Talk with Tiff, a podcast where we discuss everything money from tips and tricks to current events. Follow me on my journey to become debt-free and meet other cool people along the way. I am your host, Tiffany Grant. Now let's talk money. Hey everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Money Talk with Tiff podcast. Today, I have Nefateria Fonda. She is the president of Go Get It, Inc., a certified business and sales coach, author, and speaker, specializing in helping parallelpreneurs, professionals who are building a service-based business of their own while working, get clear on who they serve and how they serve them. How are you, Nefateria?
I'm doing well, Tiffany. How are you today?
I'm doing pretty good. It is early.
Yes, it is. But the early bird gets the worm.
Amen and amen. All right. So I wanted to speak with you because you are very knowledgeable in helping parallelpreneurs. And I know I kind of explained it in your bio, but if you could just explain what a parallelpreneur is.
So a parallelpreneur is any professional. So if you're working a 9-to-5, all while you're building a business of your own on the side. You can be a consultant, an interior decorator, an organizer, another coach. If you are working a 9-to-5 in your profession, corporate job, but you're also building a business on the side, I identify you as a parallelpreneur.
Gotcha. So what if somebody is working their 9-to-5 right now and they're like, I want to be a parallelpreneur, but I really don't know what to do. I don't know what's going on. I just know I don't want to be here anymore.
Well, them not want to be there no more. Maybe they just need a different job. Doesn't necessarily mean they need to be a parallelpreneur, because running a business is not for the faint of heart. And it's definitely not for the faint of heart when you're doing it adjacent to or parallel to your 9-to-5. So first, they really got to make a decision. Is it that you just don't like your current position and you may be better suited in another position working for someone else? Or do you really want to build your own business? Because I don't help you build a business for gas money. This is legacy building. This is retiring yourself from your job type of business building that we're doing here at Go Get It Inc. So they have to be sure that it is what they want to do. So if they're sure that they really want to build a business, then they need to start accessing their skill set, their talents. What are they good at? What are people always coming to them about or praising them about? And see if that is something that they can turn into a business. If it will make sense to turn into a business.
I am so glad you said that, because I just had this conversation with someone yesterday where they were trying to get their significant other to become an entrepreneur, because of course they see that they are very talented and they are very smart and whatever it is that they're good at, but the significant other didn't want to move. And I explained to them, like, not everybody wants to be an entrepreneur. Not everyone can be an entrepreneur. Some people are better suited to work in the office, and there's nothing wrong with that.
Absolutely.
There's nothing wrong with that. So I'm glad you said that. And then when you said, find out what it is that people come to you about all the time, that's actually how I started Money Talk with Tiff. Because when I started it, I was working in HR. And so people like my family and friends, they would always come to me about money. And I'm like, okay, maybe I am an SME in money.
Right. Exactly.
And that's how I started Money Talk with Tiff. So it's super important to find out what you're good at. And even if, like you said, be a parallelpreneur. You don't have to be a full-blown entrepreneur. I was a parallelpreneur for about 3 years or so, right?
Right.
So there's nothing wrong with that. And I want to change that narrative, because people are like, oh, you work a 9-to-5? Like, it's like...
I applaud it. Because like you said, it's not, one is full-time is not for everyone. I advocate for my parallelpreneurs that I want to give you that choice, because I can't tell you, oh, quit your job and work into your business full-time. There's a lot of factors that have to be accounted for. If you're married or share financial responsibility with somebody, they have to be on board and supportive, and y'all have to make sure that area of your business is covered. If children are involved, anybody that now will have to make some sacrifices because you decided to do this. You have to have a conversation with those individuals. And I agree with
Yeah.
you. It's nothing wrong with a job. Even if you're full time in your business and you realize this is not for me, you have to go back and get a job. It is nothing wrong with that. It is okay.
Yes, yes. I actually had to do that back in 2018. Well, I didn't technically have to, but I wanted to because one of my old employers, they were like, Tiffany, we really, really need your help. Our payroll specialist is going out on maternity leave. We tried to hire people and nobody's making the cut. You know what you're doing. Can you come back and help? And I went back and helped. And that was only a month after saying deuces to corporate and I'm going on this entrepreneurial journey.
Right.
And so I had one whole month of being on my own. And then I decided to go back. Another point financially that I want to make when it comes to being a parallelpreneur is that when you have a 9 to 5, it is guaranteed money.
Yes.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
When you're an entrepreneur, there's no guarantees.
Right.
Like
Exactly.
you are the one having to be the salesperson, be the HR person, be the billing person, be the accountant. Like you have to wear so many different hats. And really, there's no telling what your income is going to be unless, there's certain things that you can do to make sure. But there's really no telling, and especially when you first start. So there's been months where Money Talk with Tiff had zero income, negative actually. And the only reason I kept going was because I was intrinsically motivated to do it. And so I want to get into that a little bit because that goes around gaining clarity as well. There are motivational factors. There is intrinsic motivation, and then there's extrinsic motivation. And what I have learned is that if you do things for the extrinsic motivation and not the intrinsic motivation, it's very easy to give up. And so, for instance, a lot of people, they're like, oh, I want to be an entrepreneur because I want to have all the time in the world. I'm tired of clocking in and people watching me. I want to make more money. All of those different reasons. And if you do not have something within you that pushes you to keep going, then it's going to be very easy to give up. It's going to be very easy because it gets very hard. And if you don't have that motivation from the inside, so for instance, mine is because I genuinely want to see more people financially literate. Genuinely. Like that is what keeps me going. The people saying, hey, Tiffany, I learned this, I did this, because of you. Like that's what keeps me going. And so that's my intrinsic motivation. How do you coach your clients through that?
So, first of all, like you said, they really have to think about what is going to keep them going. You're right. 0 months is a real thing. Just like 10K months is a real thing, but 0 months is probably happening a lot more often. But 0 months is a real thing. And they have to really know what is the reason why they decided to start a business in the first place. And they need to keep that in the forefront of them at all times, because it is going to be times that you're going to want to give up and you're not going to want to do it no more because it's not working out how you planned it work out, how you dreamed it'll work out, how you envisioned it'll work out. And that's when you're going to have to go back to, why did I start doing this in the first place? Why did I trust God and leave my job and start doing this business in the first place? Go back and look at some of your testimonials and see what type of changes you're making in individuals' lives and what difference and impact that's having, not just in their life, but everybody that is connected to them, their community, their church, their circle.
For sure, for sure. Now, Nefateria, what kind of advice would you give that person that is like, okay, I know I want to be a parallelpreneur, but I just need clarity around what it is I'm going to do, who I want to reach, and, you know, what my intrinsic motivation is.
So the advice would be first to determine why you want to do it. Yes, time freedom, financial freedom, all of those things. But let's go deeper than that. Why is time freedom important? Why is financial freedom important? Why is building a legacy important? Go deeper than that. Ask yourself about 5 times, why am I doing this? And that's when you can get to the real root of why. When there's 0 months, you keep going.
Right. And let's talk about, so I personally have had a career coach. I have had a business coach. And I want to make sure people understand that it is so important to have someone. I don't care if it's Nefateria. I don't care if it's me. I don't care who it is. It is important to have some type of mentor and someone who can walk you through the difficult times.
Mm-hmm.
Because, for instance, and I'm going to be transparent here, every time I get on the phone with my now current business coach, I always have homework. There's always something more for me to do that she gives me to do. And a lot of times it's not stuff that I think about on my own. It takes somebody, because I'm in the grind, I'm in the day to day. It takes someone from the outside looking in like, hey, you can do this, you can do that. Did you do this yet?
Right. Absolutely. Absolutely.
And it's so imperative to have that. And even if you don't have a formal coach, it's important to have mentors and also have mentees. I'm going to throw that out there too, because it doesn't matter. I've gotten on a few phone calls this week. My phone has been blowing up off the hook, but I've gotten on a few phone calls where people are like, oh my gosh, I look up to you. You're doing amazing. You and your husband are awesome, blah, 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 blah. And then they go into where they're at in life. And I'm like, I look up to you. Like, I look up to you. And so I say that to say there is always someone that wants to be in the position that you are in right now. Right. So for me, it's important to always keep at least one mentee under my wing, and then to also have some mentors and I'm under their wing. And especially in our community, in the Black community, in the minority community, it's important that we #rise and lift, right? So as you're on the ascending end of things, make sure you take someone else with you. And that can just be hopping on a call with them, giving them some of your time. That can be sharing their stuff on social media, whatever it is. It's important to give back.
Yes, absolutely. I definitely believe in investing in yourself and then also investing in others. Because we're in this business and I believe in you reap what you sow. So if I'm advocating that you have a coach and you continually have a coach,
right,
but I'm not investing in coaches, that doesn't make any sense. So I definitely believe that you should continue to invest in yourself. And definitely they give you a perspective that you're not thinking about, right? You can't read the label when you're inside the jar. So like you said, when you're in the day-to-day grind of it, there's things that you're not looking and not seeing or you're not attached to, where a coach can come in and see those things and they're not attached to certain things like you are and can give you a different perspective, can give you some clarity around some things, give you some confidence in some things so you can get that cash.
I love that analogy you just said. Let me just say it one more time for those in the back. You can't read the label if you are in the jar. Hello.
Yes, yes, yes.
That is so true because one thing my coach gets on me with all the time is my pricing, right?
Okay.
She's like, Tiffany, you aren't charging enough. And I'm just like, oh, but I want to help the people. I want to help so many people and I want to make sure everybody gets the help that they need and this, that, and the other. And she's like,
yes.
ma'am. She's like, ma'am, you paid for this knowledge. You spent time to get this knowledge. The knowledge does not come free. It does not come low price. It does not come low cost. And one thing that my husband says, and I love when he says it almost all the time, but he says, the game is to be sold, not told.
I love it. I'm gonna have to use it. I love it.
Please use it. But the game is to be sold, not told, because
Oh, I love that.
people will hit me up and I'll get into in-depth conversations. And I'm like, oh yeah, you should do this, you should do that, blah, blah, blah. I get off the phone and he's looking at me like, like
we done had this conversation. You're not listening.
Right. It is so difficult for me. And so that's why having a coach is very important, because she's also become my PR person, right? So anytime anybody reaches out to me about speaking engagements or whatever it is they want me to do, they have to go through her first, because she's the one that's going to nail out the pricing and things like that. Because if it was up to me, I'd be like, oh yeah, sure. Oh yeah, I could do that. Oh yeah. You know?
Right.
And shooting myself in the foot. And it's crazy because when I first brought her on, a place that I had spoke to their audience before multiple times, and I did it for free. Okay. When I brought her on, I sent them to her. She said, oh, Tiffany's going to charge this much. And they didn't even bat an eye. They were like, oh, okay. And it's crazy because I look back and I'm like, dang, so all this time I really could have been charging these people. And so that's why it's important to have a coach. So, you know, some people, because I've had people in my inbox like, business coaching is expensive. Well, first of all, it depends on who you get. So do your research. And then it also, the money that you put in for this can help you tenfold in the long run. Like the money that I put into hiring her, I got back with that first booking, you know?
Right.
And a booking that I would have been like, oh yeah, I'll do it for free, you know, that type of thing. So it's super important to have these people around you. Are you familiar with the Circle of Five?
No.
No. All right. So this is a gym as well. So when my business coach was my career coach, she said, Tiffany, how much do you want to make? And I'm like, is the sky the limit?
Right. Exactly. That part.
And she said, yeah, sky's the limit. How much do you want to make? Now, mind you, at this point in time in my life, I was only making, $10 an hour? So I was like, you know, let's say $100,000 a year. Because at the time I was like, ooh, that's a lot of money. Like, that's how much I want to make. So then she had me write down the 5 closest people to me other than family. So all of my immediate circle, right? So all of my friends that I talk to on a regular basis and things like that. And she said, Tiffany, put down how much you think they make. And so I did that. Right. And then she said, okay, nobody in your circle of 5 makes how much you want to make. Everybody in your circle of 5 either makes the same amount as you or less than you. So how are you going to get to that $100,000 if everyone around you is on your level? And I was like, because her point was, you are only as good as your circle of 5. And that doesn't mean get rid of your friends that you've had for a long, long time. That just means you need to start creating new circles. And so I did. So I started creating new circles. And when I did that, the floodgates just seemed to open. And it's amazing that the people you associate with have that much effect on you. Because, for instance, now I have different circles for different things. One of my circles is full of female entrepreneurs. And guess what? We're all winning. You know what I mean? So it's important to start making different circles for different things, because if you're the smartest person in the room, how are you going to grow?
Right. You're not. You're definitely not going to grow if you're the smartest of your circle or whatever. I want to say it was my grandma or a teacher used to say, you can't soar with eagles if you squawk with turkeys. No offense. Just it is what it is. And to speak to the whole business coach is expensive. Yes, there is an investment, but also if you want to ride first class, there is an investment because you want to skip the line. You want to sit on the seat first. You want to drink. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So there is an investment if you want to skip the line, if you want to be VIP treated, if you want to be first. You're going to invest time or you're going to invest money. The choice is yours, mm-hmm. but there's going to be an investment. So do you got more time or you got more money? Which one is it?
Mm-hmm. And the
time I can't get back. So I invest money every time to save me some time, to help me skip the line, to help somebody else already figure it out so they can tell me 1, 2, 3 how to do that thing.
Amen. And see, it's crazy because I will so for instance, I don't like cleaning. And I don't think I'm good at cleaning. And so guess what? I source it out. I hire somebody to clean for me because what's going to take me, let's say 2 or 3 hours to do, and this is just talking about the bathroom, 2 or 3 hours to do, it'll take them 30 minutes to 45 minutes or so, and they're done. And so you have to start thinking about time as money, like literally start thinking that way, because I'm like, okay, if I spend 3 to 4 hours doing this, I could have spent 3 or 4 hours doing something that's going to bring me some income.
Absolutely.
So anyway, we're going to wrap it up here soon, but Nefateria, if you had to leave our listeners with one thing, one tip, one piece of advice, what would that be?
One tip, one piece of advice.
And I know your brain is swimming. You're like, oh, I can say this, I can say that, I can say this.
Yes, absolutely. And of course, now I'm trying to combine them, right? I would say trust God in all your ventures. And activate your faith, commit to your plan, and take action. And watch your business, your life, your situation change.
Yes. That plan.
That's it.
Plan. That is the key. So thank you so much, Nefateria, for coming on. If people wanted to reach out to you or find you, how could they do so?
So I'm everywhere on social media at Nefateria Fonda. And if you're looking to get some clarity around who you serve and how you serve them, get confident in your selling skills so you can bring cash into your business and you're a parallelpreneur, you can go to bit.ly/book-with-Nef and schedule a discovery session, or come to my monthly virtual networking event for Parallelpreneurs Networking with Nef. It happens on the first Tuesday of every month at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time.
Awesome. Thank you so much. And I'll have all of those links in the show notes. So thank you so much, Nefateria. It was a pleasure to have you on. We covered a lot of ground here.
Yes, we did. Thank you so much.
Thank you for listening to the Money Talk with Tiff podcast. For free resources and materials, head over to moneytalkwitht.com. And while you're there, why not sign up for our newsletter so you'll never miss an episode? Talk to you soon.